How's everyone doing? Can't hear you. How's everyone doing? Okay, a long day, right? Okay, so first of all, my name is Taylor Paul. I'm from down south, Virginia. Similarities to Philadelphia, they're both Commonwealth. My story is a kind of unique one, but before I start it, it's something that I like to do every single time that I speak. And I need you guys to help me out just a little bit. If you could say Julius Jegede. One more time. And one more time. If you don't remember anything that I say here today, please remember that name. Because that is the reason that I'm here. Julius Jegede is the victim of my crime. I'm only 2 years home from 23 years of incarceration. And I've come back to eradicate some of the social ills that I once upon a time ago helped create. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about RVA League for Safer Streets. But before that, I'd like to say a few things. First of all, I'd like to thank my family for coming out from Virginia. Jay, my main man, and Larry Platt. Jay introduced me to Mr. Platt over breakfast one day. And our relationship grew that he texted me one day and said, I would like for you to be a part of Ideas We Should Steal. Now, me being a convicted felon, the first thing I thought about was the word steal. And I texted him back and said, I'm still on supervision, so are you sure you want me here? But I'm here. As I said before, I was sentenced to life plus 23 years of incarceration. And look at me today, standing before you fine people, delivering my story. I'm happy in more than one way. First of all, that I was able to return back to my mother because I'm the only child from my mother. And to be able to go back into her arms, the center of her house, and feel welcome, and understanding that she was right. Mommy, always right. So, 23 years of incarceration. The day of my sentencing, you usually have the prosecutor here, the defense here. And most of the times, the victims of your crime family sits behind the prosecutor. But not this day. They chose to sit behind me. And I had to hear the crying of a mother. And bear in mind that I was a man that was on both sides of the track. And I've witnessed this pain both ways. Because even my own brother was slain. And I wanted a punitive process. But I didn't want it by the way of court. I wanted it by my own hand. So I took some actions into my own hand that caused me to go away from that in which was familiar to me. But it's one thing that I will never forget. The crying of a mother. Every single day of my incarceration, I heard her crying. And I would say to myself, she would probably say, why, Paul? Now, I address you to, as you see, they call me Paul Taylor. That's my mother's name that she's given me. But I'm known as Taylor Paul. Because while I was on the inside, I wanted everybody on the outside to know that I was the complete opposite of who they said I was. So while there, I co-facilitated all of the state-mandated programs in the Department of Corrections to the point that no one could do it better. But at the same time, I still grieved at the loss of this woman's son. And there are so many other people that are incarcerated that feel the same. But I knew I had to be different. I knew that I owed society a debt that I was willing to pay. So inside, I started a program called the Sanity Project. And Sanity stands for an acronym for Standing Against Negative Influence Towards Youth. What we did was attack the men by that in which they said they love in prison, and that was their children. Because I believe that you can change a man's thought process if you attack something that he loves. So I said, why not your children? Why not the kids that you say you love? So I tried my best to remove the veil from in front of their eyes, because knowing that if they would think about their child before anything negative, that child will come into effect, come into play. So this program took off. And I also started another program on the inside, thinking of ways that I can help eradicate again some of the social ills that I once upon a time ago created in society. You see, once upon a time ago, I was a part of the problem. That guy that was spoken about earlier by Mr. Muhammad, the violent guy with the gun, that was me. In 91, I was charged with homicide twice. And I walked out of court each time thinking that I've done something. So while on the inside, my partner, Jawad Abdul, who passed away 5 months ago, and he done 20-something years, him and I got together and started to combat thinking ways that we can do something different in the streets. So we came up with the RVA League for Safer Streets. And what this is not your ordinary midnight basketball league, because we have a motto. And that motto is no workshop, no jump shot. Meaning before all these guys, these kids get on the court, they have to go through these workshops that consist of conflict resolution, problem solving, and critical thinking. Now, I wonder where I would learn that at. While in prison, I told you I was inside of a cognitive community, meaning they wanted me to think different. So I wanted to bring this out to society. So while we are doing these workshops, you're starting to see what Thomas Kuhn described as that aha moment, or that paradigm shift, where they start to get some things. Where crime in Richmond came really low. Where violent crime, an 8% drop. And it was credit to our basketball league, because we had neighboring, rival neighborhoods that rivaled for over 12 years coming inside of the same gymnasium when people thought it could not be done. But we knew it could, because we were those credible messengers. We were the individuals that these same kids used to follow once upon a time ago. Here I am, gone over 20-something years, and you have a 16-year-old kid that never met me, but has a picture of me on his shirt that says living legend, all for the wrong reasons. So I knew that I owe, and I knew that I owe from the inside out. So I had to start changing how people thought on the inside first, because I knew that if I can make it work inside of the penitentiary, then I felt out here would be easy. So in these cognitive communities, I was surrounded with all of the alphabets. A's, B's, C's, G's, D's. And what I mean by that, Aryan Brotherhood, Bloods, Crips, Gangster Disciples, MS-13s, and the likes of that. And I had to make that whole melting pot of antisociable behaviorisms come together. And I did it. No one could understand how, but I did. All I did was attack the shared values, the same way we did with a simple basketball. You see, basketball was just debate to get them inside of a place. And then they needed to hear it from somebody who can be politically correct as well as speak the language of the people. I had to change the narrative. If you're going to look upon me as someone, your big homie, your OG, then it's incumbent upon me to change the narrative. So that's what I did. I started giving them an illustration of what it's supposed to look like, and they started to buy in. Here you have a man that's an Aryan brother, Aryan Brotherhood, who everybody in the pod claims that this person does not like black people. So I come and ask him why. And he said, Paul, it's not that I don't like black people. It's just that I don't like race mixing. So I thought about that. And then I thought about some of my own concepts and definitions and some of the people that I hang around in the urban community. And I asked one person one day who said, that man is a racist. So I asked them, what would happen on a nice, hot, sunny day in our urban community. And I pull up in that car and I get out, tent, come around the other side. Everybody's out there, cookout, basketball games. The whole neighborhood is out there. And I open that door, and this white girl get on my arm, and we start scrolling through the hood. He looked at me like, oh, you know what's going to happen. Is that not the same? Is that not the same? So what I tried to do was attack the men on a shared value. Was it easy? No. And I had Prince with me. Prince was there for 25 years, right with me. I brought a whole bunch of returning citizens with me. Was it easy? No. But we did it. So now we just had to transfer that skill into society. And we're doing it. So much so that people are starting to take notice. Walmart gave us $50,000 because they said, you guys are doing some amazing work. But did we receive a dime from city council? Nah. Did we receive a dime from the mayor's office? You would be surprised who is our biggest sponsor. And they also have a team inside of our basketball league. And that's the Richmond Police Department. They also are in those workshops with people from the neighborhoods. The same guys that they might be chasing one day, they're in the same gyms when we do these workshops with the guys that they're chasing. Now, this police department, as I said, are in the game. They play. We've been up since 2017, and they may have won about 2 games. So the fire department says, hey, we want in also. So now the fire department is also in RVA League. And they probably don't beat nobody but the police department. But we're happy to have them. You see, now what's going on in these communities by having the police in this basketball league? Now when they come to those neighborhoods, when somebody called and say a bunch of guys are loitering around their store, and he gets out the car, he said, okay, guys, break it up. You got to stop loitering. And one guy said, man, you. Then one guy said, hold up. Hey, man, don't you play in the league? Yeah, with the RVA League? Yeah, sure, son, I play in the league. He said, well, you need to work on your jump shots and out here fucking with us. And that's the response that they get, a laugh. Nobody's killed or nobody goes to jail. So you want to talk about community relations. You want to talk about community involvement and trying to bridge the gap. Of course, we know what's going on across the country. We see this with officers. We see this with officers all the time. Shooting here, misconduct there. But again, if I can show a shared value, where they're in those same workshop when Prince Bunn does these workshops, and they can see the shared values that they both have, then we can make a better community. And we're trying to make this contagious, not just in Virginia, but across the whole entire state, and then the country. I love Philadelphia. Matter of fact, I heard a lot of things about politics today. We probably wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have today in politics if they would have left the presidency in Philadelphia. We're trying to change the narrative. I am a returning citizen. There's a lot of people that are coming home now, and we're going to need your help. To be able to get a league off the ground, to be able to help in the communities, we've adopted a motto. And that motto is nothing about us without us. You see, a lot of the social ills that's going on inside of the community, you're going to need us to come back again, to help eradicate some of the social ills that we once upon a time helped create. It only makes sense. Hire the returning citizen and send them back in there if they know the culture, if they know the demographic, if they know what's going on inside of these communities. You want to stop gun violence? I don't think it's going to be done by our legislation. You see, you can pass all the gun laws that you want, but that gun does not affect the kid that's in North Philly, in the back of those projects, because all I have to do is go and get somebody that wants to get high and offer him something to get high off of, and he will go and buy that gun for me. So your laws will not affect that man that's on the corners that's busting guns. So, we say that unconventional behaviorism calls for unconventional strategies. And I promise you, the returning citizen has them. Thank you for letting me share that.